Hello and welcome back to the show. Today I want to have a look at the bills of exchange. Now you may remember I've had a gentleman called Mike Holt on the show several times, explaining how the bills of exchange can help people pay those rather nasty utility bills or bills from the government. And just to give this some sort of credence, I suppose, I have paid off my water bill with one of these, and the first time they accepted it, no problem, for about £300. The second time they pushed back, and I used different methods to sort that out. However, Mike has sent me, and we will get him back on the show to explain this in more detail and other things that he is doing, but he has explained, he's put together a separate website now, or a separate web page, I suppose is a better way of describing it, which makes it a bit easier for people to understand. Now, also, to give this credibility, I have had a gentleman get in touch with me and said that he, using the bill of exchange and basically his signature, has paid off his mortgage, completely cleared it, £130,000. And that may make people go, what do you mean? So he did the bill of exchange, he signed off the thing, and it went quiet for a while. And then when he went to check his mortgage account to see how much he was owing, he found it had all been settled. That is quite startling, I think you'll agree. And other people who have had utility bills, electric bills and things, have also used the same method. And of course, in these times in which everybody is finding it very, very tight, people are being evicted from their houses or they're having debt collectors coming along, I thought I would share this method with you. Of course, what it does, effectively, as I understand it, is using your legal fiction, the name on the birth certificate or the certified entry of entry, the Crown Corporation's legal fiction, to settle the account, which is either coming off your trust fund, or it is being used to go onto the financial instrument that you effectively make is going onto the shares and things, the stock market, and then is being utilised to make money for the company that you signed for. As far as we're concerned, as long as our bills are paid and we haven't had to delve into our own private funds, so much the better. So I thought I'd just take you through this webpage. I'll leave the link in the description and you can do it. Now, please, do your own due diligence. This is not financial advice. This is not legal advice or anything like that. I am simply sharing a process that a number of people have used and found worked. There will be pushbacks, of course, but according to this webpage, then the bills of exchange, if they have accepted it and you don't get the financial instrument returned within 28 days, then legally, as I understand it, that means that it has been accepted. And I believe that's what happened when I dealt with the council tax last year. So let's have a look anyway and see how we get on. So here we go. How to create the bills of exchange. And the website here says, of course, keep your cash in your pocket, understanding and using the bill of exchange to legally settle all bills sent by the government corporation without spending your earned cash. It goes into a little bit of information about how that, or rather what it is, and all of that. But the bit that I want to get to is the mechanics of it, because this does seem to be very advantageous for a lot of people. And again, just to reiterate, you've got to take on board that you may well have a bit of pushback, there may be a bit of fear, but if you hold your nerve, it ought to, and I stress ought to, come out all right. So how does the bill of exchange work? The mechanics are straightforward, but rely on precise execution. So you get a bill from the government or a utility bill. So this, don't go after small family-run firms and things like that. These are really the big corporations who understand how this works. It could be a fine, it could be a toll notice, or it could be any other demand. And as I say, I did deal with this on the council tax. The issuer is the organisation that sends you the bill. You create the bill of exchange. You, the alleged debtor, follow the steps below to draft the document naming the creditor, i.e. the issuer, that's the people who sent you the bill, as the payee. You mail the bill of exchange by registered mail and sit back and wait for the response. Now, by law, they should respond with a receipt, but often they'll try to deny your bill of exchange. In other words, they'll come back and say, oh, we don't accept that sort of thing. So be prepared to handle any rejections. So you're not losing anything because, at the end of the day, if they say, no, we don't accept it, you can, of course, just pay in an ordinary way. You're not going to be shoved in prison or anything like that for attempting to pay by this method, as long as you settle the account one way or another. Acceptance or rejection. The creditor receives the bill of exchange and has a limited window, typically 72 hours, but you can set the time limit up to 28 days if you wish to accept or return it. If they keep it without objection, it is legally considered settled under the Bill of Exchange Act. That's the important thing. Settlement. The debt is settled and the biller can take it to the bank for payment. And I believe that is simply how it works. So you can read the web page, and I'll leave the link in the description. So here are its steps, which I just thought I would run through briefly so that you can see. So it says here, step 1, gather your materials. Original billing notice is sent by the government or whomever. Always make a digital and paper copy of the document sent by the agency so that you have proof, i.e. the speeding ticket, utility bill, etc. So that you start creating a paper trail. Effectively, it is your court case, should you ever need it. Pen and paper, you'll need a wet ink signature for legal weight, envelope and postage for sending back. Okay, he says this is very important. Scan or photograph the bill as soon as you get it and keep the image in a folder dedicated to the bill of exchange. Always keep copies, create a paper trail, proof of receipt of the bill of exchange you send back. So they're the bare bones of it, which is fairly simplistic. Step 2, draft the bill of exchange. So I'll give you an example of how it should look in a moment. And we had done this on previously, but it's always good to revisit some of these things. So pay to the order, the biller's name, without recourse. So this is slightly different from how I did it, but I think this is an updated version. By, and this is where you sign and date. You sign your name as you would normally do. You write your name below your signature, first name of the house, surname, endorser, and general executor. Sign it with your usual signature in blue or red if you wish. No digital signatures. Date it for the day you post it. This starts the 72-hour clock. Each time you create a bill of exchange, click on the LIP forms, LIP forms, image below, to generate authority to process the bill of exchange letter. And you'll see on the website you can do this. Now, I didn't do that. I just signed it, sent it off. I did have some pushback, but eventually they must have accepted it because I never received a liability order and it all went very quiet with the council tax. But I had a statement from the water company saying that it was settled. So I had set a precedent with them, even though after making the video, of course, they were flurried with a number of people doing the same, and then they pushed back quite heavily. If you know a specific person's name, i.e. the officer issuing the fine, address it to them for added precision, or address it to the I guess that's the chief finance officer of the organisation. You can also make a copy of the original and address it to the fraud department. So now, if I press this button, we should see an example of how to do the bill itself and what you do and how you write it. As you can see, the information, the personal information has been redacted here, but that's not the point. So we've got a $1,915 bill here from something called AGL, which presumably is an electric company in Australia, but this works in this country as well. And you can see this is how you do it in red ink, as you can see, so that it's all signed. It's all basically, in my mind, what's going on here is as if you're turning this instrument, this bill, into a financial instrument, and so it can be then effectively a promissory note of sorts, so that it can be taken by the issuer to the bank, and it will settle the account. He says also add any other extra bits of paper that come with it, void as initio here, which basically says not relevant, nothing to do with it, and what have you. So there it is. You send it back. Step 3, place the bill of exchange you've created into an envelope and address it to the person or the organisation, department, head. If you don't have a name, always send your bill of exchange by registered mail, as we said, tracking issues so that they cannot deny receiving it. No need to get a signature at the other end, although it's handy. You post your post office receipt is evidence that you sent it. Mail to the address on the notice. Don't call or email, as verbal communication weakens your paper trail. And I would definitely say keep all your communications via paper rather than emails or telephone calls. I have my phone permanently on silent because I don't want them calling to me and changing jurisdiction in a conversation. And here it is, your 74-hour rule on step 4. If they don't return the bill of exchange within 3 days, if you have given them longer to respond, then don't do anything until that time expires. Follow up. If they persist with demands and refuse to honour your bill of exchange, which is what happened to me and with the council tax, after the time limit, note their response and lack of. It's evidence that they've accepted the bill of exchange. In other words, if they keep coming back to you, unless they return this bill, this is my understanding, unless they return it, they have accepted it. They might say, oh, we don't accept this, we don't accept it. And I had exactly that with the council, saying, well, we don't accept it, we don't accept it. And I said, well, that's fine, send it back, and I'll settle it a different way. But they didn't. And then eventually it just all disappeared. Once you have sent your bill of exchange or response letter, do nothing. Wait for their response and then decide your next step. Often an organisation will settle your account, but neglect to confirm with a receipt. You can and should demand a legally formatted receipt notarised by the person responsible. But if you don't get a bill back, then, it kind of says it, doesn't it? Check the next bill they send. It shows the new amount. This shows that they accepted the bill of exchange, which is what happened to me with the water bill, because the water bill came and it said the last couple of payments and it showed that them were paid. And here, stand firm. Avoid phone calls. And if you do accidentally say, I can't discuss this matter over the phone, communicate by mail only. Keep the records of every notice they send. Anyway, it talks about the things that can go wrong, which is worth looking at, and what to do when they don't honour the bill. And of course, if they don't honour the bill and they don't return the financial instrument, then another thing I did was to send them an invoice. I said, well, you haven't returned it, so I'm sending you an invoice with the same amount. These are all different tactics, of course. I'm not saying any of them are the perfect solution to anything. But in this world where the government is causing chaos and mayhem to people and putting the price up of everything, taxing us left, right and centre, the utility companies may not be acting properly, legally, according to the jurisdiction. That many of the utility companies, particularly say with electricity, are merely brokers pretending to supply you with electricity when actually they're not doing that. They're under a different act, the Credit Act, as I understand it. Then we're just simply responding to that by saying, fine, I'll send you a bill, I'll try the signature. As I say, always have the money aside, because you can always at the end of the day go and say, okay, I'm fed up with the fear and the pressure and the rejection of all of this. You can at the end of the day pay. The way I look at it, if you want it to put it in a different way, is you get a bill, it comes in, and you go, okay, I'll settle that with your signature. But look at it this way: you give them a gold bar. I mean, this is just a way of looking at it that don't actually do this. It's like you've given them a gold bar, and then they come back and say, well, we don't accept gold bars. And you go, fine, okay, hand me my gold bar back, and I will pay you in the normal way or another way. If they don't hand you your gold bar back, you've effectively given them the money. They've accepted the gold bar. Your signature is effectively the gold bar that you create. You are creating money with your signature. That's how it works. I'll leave the link in the description. You have a look at it, see what you think. And I will be back with more things soon. And as I say, we'll get Mike on the show in due course, and we'll go through it another time, plus find out all the other things that he's doing. But I'll leave the link in the description, and you can see for yourself how you feel about it. This isn't financial advice. It's not legal advice. It is just an option that you might want to explore for entertainment purposes only. Till next time, goodbye.